What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Spectator Sports Podcast. It is episode 199. We're one away from 200 as old Gangnam Style man over here is hitting that John very hard. Ken, welcome in. Welcome to 199, brother.
I was actually riding a horse, but I understand the confusion. Julian, how you doing today, man?
Dude, it's a nice Tuesday, and we do have the trade deadline for the NFL happening later in about 45 minutes or so. So by the time this is done and you guys are listening, it'll be done. We might not have every detail out there, but we'll have most of it. I'd assume, or most of the important stuff. And I don't know, we got a lot of sports right now. The NBA's back, hockey's back, and do want to put out a little RIP to that incident that happened on hockey before we get into everything. That was super tragic. That was like really, really sad on the ice and everything. That was terrible. So, RP, thoughts and prayers and everything for the family, friends, all that. Brutal.
Yeah, yeah. Rest in peace to that man. That looked like a very unnatural hockey move, but I don't know anything about hockey, so I won't even
Yeah,
say much more
that's
than
not in our realm at all.
not at all.
That's not even remotely in the realm, but still, just super sad, and just wanted to mention that before we got into the nitty gritty of everything. So we do have the World Series going on, and the NBA just started. So we're gonna start with some NBA news that we got last night. Woj comes in at 2 a.m. with a Woj bomb. I didn't know he was awake that late, but I'm sure he heard grumblings of this being official, and that's why he was moving and grooving so late. James Harden on his like fourth request for a trade in 3 years. He had to
Man.
pull out the fat suit for this one. Gets traded from the Philadelphia 76ers to his hometown in LA with the Clippers. He's joining up with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, a star-studded team that 5 years ago I might have crapped my pants seeing together on a roster. It is not 5 years ago anymore, unfortunately. Um, it's an interesting trade, and I want to get your initial thoughts on it, and then I'll kind of give mine as well.
My initial thoughts are that the Clippers may have just gotten a lot worse. And reason being, you see all these role players they just traded away, like pretty much every single one of them. And then you're adding on another guy who only plays basketball on his terms when you already have Kawhi Leonard who only plays basketball on his terms. So how is this team ever going to develop chemistry when you have, say, 78, 79 games left in this season, which of course that's pretty much a whole season. But if one of your guys is only going to play 50 and another one of your guys is only going to play 50, where's the chemistry ever gonna come from? That's my first thought.
Yeah, that's super valid, like reasoning. I mean, Harden again, like he's been on teams with so many superstars at this point, and the only one that's really worked is when they were in Houston with Chris Paul, and then like they had that 27 missed threes in a game, and they
Oh,
happened to lose and choke to the Warriors. And that team probably should have won. That team was really good, and Harden was obviously the best version of himself. But since then, he goes to the Nets. The circumstances were out of his hands a little bit in Brooklyn, so it's hard to kind of call him a diva, but like he did force his way out of there after forcing his way to there. Again, putting on a fat suit, just not showing up for the Rockets, demanding these trades. And when you keep demanding and demanding and demanding, and then you go to this new place, and every place you get a tick worse and a tick worse and a tick worse. What kind of James Harden are we going to see? It's not like he's the primary scorer in this situation. So what is he, a 3-and-D guy? No, he's not super efficient anymore. He's definitely not a good defender. I mean, they kind of need a point guard. He's probably a better guard than Russell Westbrook at this point. So sure, maybe they don't need him scoring. It's not like the pieces they gave up is a lot either. Like Nicholas Batum is not good at basketball anymore, and he's making an incredible amount of money. I don't know if you heard the rap lyric on the freestyle where it was like fourth quarter, why the hell's Batum in it? Like
I
it's a
no.
ridiculous freestyle. Having a Nick Batum name drop is just unreal. But like it's not like they gave up anything outside of Covington. I don't even know if he's that good, honestly.
I mean, for some reason, the Clippers they hate Morris, even though on
They
any team
continue.
Morris is on, he's gonna add that.
He's impactful.
Right, he's gonna add that hustle. He's gonna probably hit a couple of random threes out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And He's always been a solid defender as well. Ooh, voice crack. That's awesome.
Wake up.
The funniest thing, well, I wouldn't say necessarily funny. I mean, I don't know what the Clippers' future game plan is. Because Harden, free agent after this year, Paul George,
Hmm.
free agent after this year, Kawhi Leonard,
Hmm.
free agent after this year, and they don't have a first round draft pick until I am no longer in my 20s, and I am 23, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, and the crazy part about that too is like this could very easily fold on its head. They could win 43 games this year, which I don't think they will. I think they'll be a little bit better than that if they're even remotely healthy. But they could win 43 games this year. And excuse me as I replace my battery in my headset, but not do well. All those free agents go away, and now all of a sudden, this is the worst team in the league by like a mile because you have Russell Westbrook on on contract, and then like second round G League guys everywhere. And you're cooked.
Well, they also actually traded 6 second rounders over the past few years as well, so just, so on top of not having many first round picks, yeah, it's, where do the Clippers find value in the draft? Well, they don't.
You
Would
know, but
I
I appreciate it though. They're trying.
it's
And I like the efforts. I really do. It's like if I were a fan of a team, and there's not that many Clippers fans, so like I don't know who they're trying to please here, but they're trying. And out of that, I thank you. Also, shout out to me and Nick Heimberg before this happened. We picked 3 teams every year that we're allowed to root for. And my 3 teams this year were the Knicks, the Thunder, and the Clippers. So my Clippers, in theory, got a little bit better, but do they really? I don't know. Not really. Who's to say? I don't know.
on the other side here, I don't know if Tyrese Maxey is gonna be this good all season, but the Sixers are clearly showing that they trust Tyrese Maxey and what he can be as a player, which I think is going to be a great move for them. He's a good defender.
Yeah,
He's just getting better and better offensively every single year. I mean, he's averaging
more
30.
confident.
Right. I'm way more confident. Averaging 30 through the first 3 games. He's not gonna do that all season because
No,
Joel Embiid exists. But he's getting better at distributing the ball as well. There's so many things Tyrese Maxey is getting better at, and I think trading away James Harden, the Sixers are looking at Tyrese Maxey and they're going, "Hey, you are really, really, really our guy, and
some
this is our way of
confidence.
showing you." Yeah.
It's definitely some confidence. So with that, and you're kind of praising Maxi a little bit here. I think that's a good opportunity for us to go into some NBA preseason kind of predictions. I know it's 3 games into the year for most teams. It's still kind of preseason. We wanted to get this out last week, but we wanted to make sure that we were fully up to date. Not just throwing out every name that we've ever heard once, and it's just like the most uninformed thing ever. So we wanted to kind of get that out because we were definitely in baseball, football mode. Basketball season, at least for me, snuck up on me. I don't know about for you. It snuck up on me this year. So
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Actually, if you guys really wanna know, the reason that we didn't do preseason predictions is because I said, "Hey, man, I'm not caught up on my NBA, so let's do that next week." So,
yeah,
no,
and
well,
here we
next
are.
week, as in I said that last week, and you get it, you get it.
Yeah, you get it. So
So,
what we'll do, you said Maxi, so that's where I want to start. Because I think that may or may not be your answer here. We're gonna go over like the awards. We're not gonna go over rookie of the year. It should be Wemby. That's just gentleman's agreement. Handshake.
handshake,
Yeah,
yes,
Wemby's
Wemby.
gonna win rookie of the year. He already looks like a top 100 player in the league, probably closer to top 50. He's already really good. Cool. We get it. So let's start with most improved. There's a lot of guys that already early on into the season have looked way better than they have in the past. You mentioned Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bain is scoring at a crazy clip that he's never done before. Um, Tyrese Halliburton's like fully the guard over there in Indy. So who do you think is going to win most improved?
Yeah, you already said it. I'm a big fan of Tyrese Maxey. Even if he doesn't average 30 points the whole year, which,
But you
like I
won't.
said, obviously he
He's
will
not
not.
going to.
But look, last season, 20 points, 3 assists, couple rebounds. Yeah, that's a very solid, second or even third piece if you're a really good team. For most teams, that's probably going to be your second piece. But now the 76ers making him their guy, I could very well see him. I mean, he's already starting to do it. doubling a lot of these numbers. I mean, his assists right now are up over 6. His rebounds are almost near 7. Again, is he gonna really maintain some of these like rebounds? Is he really gonna keep going for 6, 7 rebounds a game? Probably not. But Tyrese Maxey somewhere in the mid-20s scoring around that 6 assist mark and more efficient, only turning the ball over about once a game. Yeah, he's my pick for most improved player.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. Especially coming into the year. I think maybe if you're like a big NBA guy, you probably expected Tyrese Maxey to be way better this year, obviously with Harden not being there. And then like some of the other guys that they've lost that take up some of the offense and clogging up the lanes kind of just makes sense in general. But I also don't think this guy's gonna win either. But I wanted to give a shout out to Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas in real time is becoming what Kevin Love was in Minnesota. We are watching a guy on a team that kind of has aspirations, but not the means to do it, just put up incredible empty stat numbers. Cam Thomas is putting up 33 points a game right now. And I think as a starter, he's scoring 33.5 points a game in his career as a full-time starter. That is the most of all time. It's only like a 20-game stretch, but that is the most of all time for an NBA starter if that were his career. Cam Thomas looks fun. He's exciting. I don't like him in the clutch. I don't like him creating his own shot when it matters. I don't like him creating his own shot in like true playoff style basketball, but he's fun right now. And he's making the Nets at least somewhat watchable. But I don't think he's going to win it because the team won't be good enough. My pick is going to be Tyrese Halliburton. So we're going to double down on the Tyrese's here. Halliburton, right now, his numbers look pretty similar to what they were to end the season last year. However, his like efficiency as a player and like in his movements, like, you know, when somebody's like efficient in like the way that they move and so they're like able to sustain that throughout a game because they're not just Russell Westbrooking bursting to the rim for 48
Yes.
minutes and taking like 4 years off your career in one season. Tyrese just looks so in control and fluid, and I love the way that he plays basketball. This guy, as a guard, might win Defensive Player of the Year this year, which we're not going to talk about that because that's a stupid stat they only ever give the big guys. But he could, like, he's that good defensively. If he winds up scoring 22, 23 a game, this is one of the best guards in the league, especially two-way guards, and I think he'll win Most Improved if they make the playoffs, even as like a 6 seed.
Yeah, shout out the Kings for getting Domantas Sabonis out of him.
Hey,
So
they
it's
got
not
better
a
too. So
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it might.
everyone got better here. We got to see Halliburton really shine and make the Pacers better, really show the world who he is. And the Kings made the playoffs for the first time since I don't,
6, 7? I don't
since
remember.
they did.
Since the dawn, since white chocolate. And yeah, it kind of worked out. Now De'Aaron's be able to play more of a point guard, so he's gotten better too. And I know you're a big De'Aaron guy, so
Oh,
shout out.
absolutely.
So it worked out for everybody. I just love Tyrese. I think he's awesome. And when that trade happened, I didn't get the hype, and now I get it. I understand. Let's move over to MVP. I feel like this is actually easier to Most Improved, but at the same time, there's more guys. But like, I'm just the biggest Jokic fan on the planet. And if you look at the landscape right now, the Nuggets look as good as they were last season. He's doing 25, 26, 27-point triple doubles to start the year. And he doesn't look like it doesn't look like the 3 months of tending to the horses back home have affected his ability to play basketball at all. And if he's not the favorite to win MVP, I don't really know who is. And I'm not going to look at the Vegas odds. I'm just talking like, look at this guy play. Look how much better he makes his team. And they're the best team in basketball because of it.
That's valid.
That's how I feel.
I think that is a very I'll call it a safe pick. That's definitely a safe pick.
It's definitely a
Unless
safe pick.
unless we could start to see some voter fatigue. You never know. He's won the past two. Maybe the voters are like, all right, we're tired of this guy. We don't want him to win 3 in a row.
Well,
You know,
Embiid won it last year because of voter fatigue. So I feel like we got to get the reverse.
this goes to show you how in tune I
The
was with NBA
reverse.
last year. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, forget I spoke. Can we
He
edit
won
that
2 in
out?
a row.
We
He
don't edit
should have won
anything.
it
Can
last
we
year.
edit that out?
No, absolutely not.
We will not be doing that.
Oh, but the
Thank you,
producer
producer man.
speaks.
Thank you, producer man.
Okay, my pick, it does depend on team success just a little bit. I'm not the
A little bit.
biggest team success guy. Like
Mm-mm.
I'm the type of person where okay, if you're that good, you're that good. But of course, the voters care that you win more than 40 games. With that being said, if this team can simply get 47 or 48 wins, my MVP pick is Luka Doncic. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pick one of the foreign Dirks of the league, and I'm like, I'll just pick another foreign Dirk
The
of the
other
league.
guy. Yeah, the
Yeah, I'll
other
just pick
guy.
the other one. I mean, starting off the year again, not sustainable numbers, but we have to talk about how insane they are. Through 3 games, 39 points, almost 10 assists, and 11.7 rebounds a game for Luka. Those are ridiculous numbers, and he's shooting almost 50% from 3. Again, not sustainable, but
No.
if he is putting up nearly a 30-point triple-double and the Mavericks can win, like I said, closer to 50 games, yeah, that's who I like for MVP.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that they're undefeated so far. Congrats on the Mavs for that. They haven't lost yet. Again, it's only 3 games, but this is not a team that I like all that much on paper. Um, I think Kim and Kyrie are awesome offensively and they're going to score. I think outside of them, when the bench is in, they're going to struggle to score. And I think they're going to struggle to defend 48 minutes a game, every single game. So I don't like them as a team, but you're right. I mean, they're already 3 wins closer to that 47 mark. If this is a top 5 team in the West, which really just making the playoffs for them would be nice because they didn't make it last year. It was kind of intentional. They tanked for the lottery, but Luca is looking like the best offensive player in basketball right now. And he didn't get any skinnier. So imagine if one day he does just come out like 20 pounds lighter and is just like fleet of foot. That'd be
No,
crazy.
no, no. Imagine if one day he's still sitting at 230 pounds, but he looks more like LeBron James.
Oh,
You know, that would be
oh my God. That'd be
Oh, man.
crazy. And it's kind of funny how like with Jokic, we kind of embrace the big dad body, but Luca we don't. But like Jokic is a big center and Luca's a guard or like a point forward or whatever you kind of consider Luca. I know he's a point guard. He's like crazy tall and I don't know. Luca's awesome. I'm not mad at that at all. I just don't like this Mavericks team. So I don't like saying he's MVP because I think they stink.
That's valid, and I think Kyrie Irving is gonna make this harder, not just because he will take away a little bit of Luka's numbers, but because, Kyrie Irving has proven throughout his career that it's very hard to win with him unless you're LeBron James.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, like the Celtics had a good little run there with him for like 1 year, but after
Yeah,
that, I kind of fumbled.
until
So
they didn't.
until they didn't win, until they didn't win, and you're right. So no, I like that. I like that a lot. Both of those guys are crazy. Shout out to our European lads running the league. Those two and Giannis just taking over. It's pretty crazy. And then we'll hit our last NBA point here. But who do you have coming out of the East and the West?
Coming out of the East and the West, well, I will tell you, I oh, did we wanna do defensive player of the year?
Nah, 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 nah.
No?
Like,
No?
I mean, if you got one, to say it. But I don't like that. I don't like that
Well,
award. I think it's
uh,
stupid.
it is kinda stupid. I'm an enjoyer of Anthony Davis. I think we can get a healthy season out of him. But sneaky, the only reason I wanted to mention defensive player of the year is because I know he's a rookie, but I would almost bet money Wembanyama finishes, like, top 3, top 4 in voting for defensive player of the year.
Not even remotely mad at that. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Vibes.
Vibes.
Out of the East, let's
Vibes.
start with the East because I think I'm very confident about my East team, but I'm not very confident about the West, so I'm gonna say my East, and then I'll let you pivot over to your East team while I try to really figure out who I like for the West.
Okay.
Um, I like the Celtics, man. I think Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are gonna prove to be possibly the 2 biggest offseason additions, even with, people like Damian Lillard being moved, even with James Harden being moved, even with these super, super, superstars being moved to new teams, you have role players, which granted, Drew Holiday is a great role player. He's fringe all-star most seasons. And then we've all know what Kristaps Porzingis is when he's healthy. And if they allow him to be himself a little bit and not just be catch and shoot, he can add a whole other dynamic to that offense whenever Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum are out of the game for, a few minutes at a time. And then he's also great around the rim, shot blocking wise. I think the Celtics got so much better. Be them out of the East.
Yeah, I very unfortunately I'm gonna have to agree with you, especially after these first 3 games we've seen out of them. They played the Knicks and it was kind of a tough game. I don't like that the Knicks shot super poorly and still almost won that game. First game of the season, though, it is what it is. Kristaps put up like career numbers as a debut guy for the Celtics. I think it was like 35. They have the best defensive backcourt in the league with Derek White and Drew Holiday. And I don't even think it's close. Like I think it's them. There's a sizable gap. Then the next best team. Then probably another sizable gap in defensive backcourts. So if you're a guard heavy team, they're gonna struggle like the Knicks did in that game. Jason Tatum is probably the second or third best, right? Third, realistically, but third best player in the East. My big issue with this team is Jaylen Brown. I just don't love like who he becomes when it's kind of needed out of him, when his best is required. I don't love Jaylen Brown at all, especially going to the left. Like he has a very obvious flaw. But I mean, this team is really, really good defensively. They're super well coached. They have role players that understand their role. And now they finally have a scorer in Kristaps who can take over a game when maybe Jalen's not in it or maybe Jason's not at his best. And they haven't had that really in a while since Kyrie. So I think I like the Celtics too. I think they're the deepest team in the East. And they have the lowest floor, which again, so it's kind of safe picks for us, but the NBA is pretty predictable more times than not. So
This is true.
So I do like the Celtics as well.
Big Celtics guy over here.
No, absolutely not.
Not actually a big I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah, same.
But in
We hate
terms
the
of
Celtics.
yeah, who I think, how I feel about things. Yeah, definitely big on the Celtics.
Yeah.
And
Which
I
this is the
know,
first year I felt that way too. I don't know about you. I haven't liked them in the last couple of years.
you know, I never like anyone out of the East. To be honest, like I like overall, I never like anyone out of the East.
I'm not mad at you for
Um
that.
And I know I'm not going to bring this up too deep because I know some point in the season we are going to talk about it. Obviously, the playoffs will be happening in around summertime, and that's when we'll really get into this conversation. I am just not a fan of Damian Lillard when it really, really matters.
No,
And we will talk more about that. I'm sure of it. That's
we
why
will.
simply can't pick the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see how they mesh. It's going to take a while. Like, it's not like that's not like a Drew Holiday where he just fits with any team. Dame is definitely an acquired. So I think they'll struggle a little bit in the early goings and maybe figure it out. If they're right and they're clicking like that offense maybe could, they're the best team in the East, maybe the best team in the league, but I don't know how that's going to work right away. So you're right. Feel you. I'll tell you my West team since I don't know if you're ready for that or not. But the team coming out of the West is still going to be the Denver Nuggets. Like, it just is like unless they get hurt again, we saw for the first time a healthy Nuggets with Jamal Murray and Jokic is essentially the most unstoppable duo in basketball offensively. Which is crazy because Jamal's not even close to a top 10 offensive player, but just the way they play with each other and the way they create spacing on the floor is something like we've never, ever seen in the league where Jokic can like create space as the biggest guy on the court and the slowest guy on the court. And oh, yeah, Jamal is just also probably the best penetrator in terms of guards in the West. Relax. And then relax.
Hey yo.
Relax. And and I just really like them a lot. Again, I don't like the Mavericks to do anything too crazy. I don't trust the Kings at all, and I think Phoenix is going to give up 116 a game at some point. Which actually the Kings are giving up 120 a game right now. So look out for that defense. We got really bad defenses out in the West right now.
And the Kings are just simply there to run up and down the court and score the basketball, man.
And they
It's
they
the
do it
same
pretty
thing.
well.
It's the
They
same
do
thing they
it
did last season.
and didn't work out super great.
Hey, they got the 4 seed. That's, they
They won. They won.
they took the
They won a
Warriors to
little bit.
7,
Yeah,
you know?
kind of.
Like we said,
Recycling.
man, like the Kings, when you haven't made the playoffs since I was in like first grade. Once again, I'm 23, by the way. You take baby steps. So we're just happy that they made the playoffs. I'm a Kings enjoyer. I like earlier, this is kind of off topic. You mentioned your three teams. If I were to say I had three teams, Knicks fan, live in New York, of course. They're
Mhm.
they're gonna be my dogs, of
Be
course.
careful with saying this. We will hold you to it the rest of the year. It's
Oh,
on
absolutely.
record.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
dude,
just make sure.
these
Okay,
my top two teams every year are Knicks and Kings. I don't necessarily
okay.
know if I have a third,
Pick one right
but
now.
I'll
We're
pick
rooting
one
for.
right
It has to
now.
be kind of a lesser team.
Who am
Can't
I
be
rooting
like
for? The Kings are a lesser team
no,
most of the
because
time.
they're a
The
playoff team.
Knicks are a lesser
They're
team.
both playoff teams. Give
Oh
me like
my
another team around.
gosh.
You can't tell me the Nuggets right now.
Another team
I
that I
got
just
vetoed on going Bucks. No, yeah. Well, so you got vetoed here.
who am I meant to pick that's not?
You
See,
can root with the Thunder for me. It's kind of fun.
the Thunder? That is kind of fun.
It
I
is
feel like
kind of
the
fun.
Spurs would just be an obvious pick because it's like, oh, Wemby, yeah, whatever. No, I don't. You know what? I'm a Pistons enjoyer. Jalen Duren
Yeah, yeah.
and Cade
Cade
Cunningham.
Cunningham. He's healthy.
Yeah,
He looks good so far.
right. I'm a Pistons
He
enjoyer.
looks
There you
good.
go.
Okay, fair enough. Producer BK on the spot, real quick. Give me your three. Nets and who else?
I am gonna hop on that Spurs bandwagon. I'm usually
Okay.
not a Texas team guy, but I'm a Wemby guy. I want Wemby to come out and just ball.
Yeah, he's sick.
I wasn't ready for the third one. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm looking real quick. Um, Give me Cleveland.
Fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's entertaining.
yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
yeah.
I
I
would
like
love.
that.
I was gonna say Thunder, but quick pivot on the last second.
Quick
So
pivot. I'm
quick
sad you
pivot.
guys didn't pick the Thunder with me, but that's okay.
Oh,
That's
I'm
okay.
still
Because
there with the
when
Thunder though. They're four.
when
They're four.
listen, when our Oklahoma City Thunder are the 4 seed, I'm gonna be real happy. I'm gonna have a smile on my face. It's gonna be great.
When in 2025?
No, right now.
Right now. Oh,
Yeah. They are currently the 4 seed. It's I'm
okay.
banged out, baby. Let's ride.
Okay.
No, I think they're gonna be fun. Okay, cool.
I, s-
I like that.
I still haven't really picked a West. It's so hard to not pick the Nuggets.
I'm telling you, dude.
Uh,
They're
me
so well
being
rounded.
me being a LeBron James homer, I'd like to pick the Lakers, but I feel like there was a stat. There was a stat, and it just shows me what I think the Lakers are gonna be like once again, and it's the same story of LeBron James's
Hmm.
entire career.
Hmm.
It was in the Warriors game. In 29 LeBron James minutes, the Lakers were +7. They're gonna win the game, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
In just 19 non-LeBron James minutes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Say
you
the
know where I'm
number.
going with this.
Say the number.
I forgot it off the top of my head, but I wanna say it was -12. How much did they lose by to the Warriors? I forgot it off the top of my head. Hold
I
on,
can look
hold on,
real
hold
quick.
on. Why can it
They
not
a
show me the
lot.
last game? They
He's
lost
cooking
by
over here.
4. They lost by 4. So, yeah, it was
Quick
-12 in
maths.
19 non-LeBron James minutes. So that tells me LeBron, at the age of 55, is once again gonna have to carry the entire team unless Anthony Davis decides to show up, which is he? Is he?
LeBron's the oldest player in the league, by the way. That I don't. That's not a knock on LeBron. He just is. Like that's
Yeah,
not me saying
quite
he's gonna be
literally.
worse or better. He just is the worst player, or not worst, the oldest player in the league, the worst player in the league. LeBron James, known worst player in the league. LeBron. No, he's the oldest player in the league. Like he just is. So like,
Brother just had a
there's gonna
typo.
be there's gonna be tiredness and minute restrictions, and I don't like the Lakers for that at all. No.
Minute restrictions he's already broken, by the way.
Yeah.
He's supposed to
I
play
think it's
30
like an
minutes a game.
overall. It's like how they say like don't have over like X amount of calories in a day, but it's really like over a couple days because it doesn't just like hit you like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. They're like if I play 48 today, I'll just play like 46 tomorrow. Because their
That's a
restriction's
lot.
not real. It's still a lot. He's gonna play every minute of every game. It's so sad.
It's unfortunate.
It's so sad. It's so sad. But those are our predictions for the NBA. We'll hold ourselves to it. We'll hold ourselves to it. I think that the Celtics actually win it all if that's the matchup, and I will be very upset with myself when I'm right.
It's,
So,
as a Knicks
pain,
fan,
suffering,
yeah.
sadness.
So it's unfortunate, but
It's very unfortunate. We also suck. Send Julius Randle to the moon, please, and thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he sucks. Before I get mad talking about them, let's go quickly to the MLB real quick. I don't know if Brooke has that ready on the tabs, but we'll go to the MLB. The World Series is going on really fast, and the Rangers are up 2-1. Game 4 is tonight. We have a couple of Yankee legends starting, and I use legends in all lowercase in really small font because Andrew Heaney and Joe Mantiply are starting game 4. Just
Listen,
nobody. It's
listen.
just disgusting. Don't tell me anything good about the Heen dog. I don't want to hear it.
No, I don't know. I don't think I said this live during the podcast last week, but I know I said it to you. Where were you when Andrew Heaney pitched a gem against the Red Sox for the Yankees in 2021? Where were you when that happened? You know where I was? I was on my couch. I was watching Heen Dog Bump Day in
Bump
action.
day. It was real.
Heen Dog Bump Day. And that's what we
Exactly.
got today. we
That's
got
what we got
Heen
today.
Dog Bump Day, the legend. And you know what? The legend with LEG in caps. Why? I don't know. I just didn't want it all lowercase.
Just
I
leg.
just didn't want it all lowercase.
The legend.
The
Andrew Heaney, exactly.
Yes,
He's so legendary. Yeah, I mean, that's the worst pitching matchup I've maybe ever seen in the history of the World Series, at least that I remember. Like, I've never seen anything worse than this. Joe Mantiply has had a pretty meh season. He is an all-star, though. One-time all-star. Love that for him. He did get the pity all-star vote last year, 2 years ago. When the Diamondbacks lost 100 games. So, makes sense. The series has been pretty fun so far, though. Diamondbacks steal game 2. They kind of dominated them in game 2. Game 1 with a walk-off Adelise. Adelise and Corey Seager just looking like every part of the superstars they are. Corey Seager has 2 home runs. He won game 3 with a home run. Granted, it was earlier in the game, but that 2-run home run was the difference. That was last scoring for the Rangers. Wound up winning 3-1. And I just find a hard way to see this series not going 7. I think the Diamondbacks win tonight, and I think they win tomorrow, and I think the Rangers take game 6, and then we get a really fun game 7 in Texas. And that just sounds fun. Game 7 baseball, man. Give me some of that.
Home runs win games, ladies and gentlemen. There's
Rangers.
been a ton of home runs hit just in this series alone. And you know what? It's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
Very entertaining. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of it, but every time I get a notification from MLB on my phone, I'm like, holy hell, what happened? What happened this time? What happened this time? And it's been a really, really fun series to watch. I'm thinking the Texas Rangers, the Rangers might go up 3-1 today.
Oh,
Heen Dog Bump Day, baby.
Heen Dog Bump Day with a
Heen
W.
Dog Bump Day.
I'm not overly mad at it. I think the biggest X factor remaining in this series that we haven't really seen do anything is Christian Walker. Christian Walker, 30 home runs this year, has been booty cheeks.
Tough
in the playoffs. Like bad. Like not good. So I don't like that from him. And I want him to do better. So I'm gonna look at you straight in the face, Christian Walker. I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna slap you with the other hand. Say, do better, man. Do better. I've also been informed by our producer that we forgot something pivotal.
You guys did. We got a cool new thing going on in the NBA, and you failed to talk about it.
We did fail. It's embarrassing.
So
Okay,
I'm
so
going to
sad.
shake your
Let's be
hand,
honest.
and I'm going to take the other hand and slap you with it, because we are talking about the NBA play-in tournament courts. We got new quirky courts all around, and you guys are going to talk about it. So go ahead.
Brother described them as quirky, and I'm supposed to believe this is pivotal. You used that word.
This is absolutely outrageous. The NBA does have the midseason tournament. I don't really we've talked about it in the past on this pod, and I still don't fully understand it. I know the wins go towards regular season. The courts are connected to the City Connect uniform. So if you see a team that their colors don't make any sense, it's because Nike's brain dead and decides to put out new uniforms every single year instead of just find a good one and keep it. And then if one was bad, cycle through it. It's not a hard concept, Nike. Like, please get it through your head. You do it with the Oregon Ducks. Why can't you do it with the NBA? Crazy. So everybody gets a new court. BK's scrolling through them, as you guys can see. Some of them are cool. Some of them are really bad. We're going to talk about our favorite ones. I'm going to start. I think the Utah Jazz court is awesome. It's the only court that they go like retro in their colors, and it looks really nice. I like the purples. I like that it's 2 purples, and it's not the purple and the blue, because if it was that, it would just be way too much. It's their 50th anniversary. And I love this because they use this 1 year after rebranding to the super plain, boring, modern, black, yellow, whatever uniforms they use now. It stink. They're horrible and they're boring. They look like a low D1 school that didn't have a lot of budget and couldn't afford like a guy to design the jerseys. So they're like, Utah, what's your team name? Jazz. Slap it on there, baby. They're really boring. But this, sorry about hitting the mic. This, really cool.
Just
I like
punch in the face. It's fine.
Boom. I like these purples a lot. I think the court's really cool. And yeah, I don't really like any of the other ones besides like maybe like the Magic.
Yeah, if Mr. Producer could go back down, actually. I am an enjoyer of the Toronto Raptors. I think the all black with a little gray and then the gold is just gonna all of it's gonna pop. And you gotta think Drake will be at one of these games when this court is being used, just because it literally is OVO colors as well. Not that that matters, but I just think this court is gonna look really, really cool. Black and gold, you can never go wrong with it. Quite literally ever. I mean, look at the Saints. Look at I don't watch hockey. What's there's definitely a
Gold
black and
Knights,
thank
reigning
you.
champs.
Thank
Reigning
you.
champs.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. But yeah, black and gold is just always really cool. And I think this court's gonna be fun to look at.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I don't love the logo in the middle, but like it's
Yeah, it's
could be worse, could be better. It
I
is what it is.
think while we're still on the topic, I think we agreed on our biggest fumble of all this, and that is the Miami Heat not using all their cool colors that they have, like the light blue, the black, the red, and instead we just get
They could have gone like Miami Vice.
exactly.
They could have used like orange and red or orange and yellow or like inverse them. They could have just used orange and black. Orange and black would have been cool. They used like the worst of their like 16 colors in the gray. It's not great.
Biggest fumble.
It's definitely the biggest fumble out of potential. The worst court, though, like the actual worst court, is the Pelicans. I don't care what you guys say. I know it's Mardi Gras. I don't care. It looks like a witch's costume. It's horrible. This purple stinks. This green stinks. It looks like a really, like, you know, the old Hulk colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what's the worst Marvel movie? Hulk.
Oh man.
By a mile.
Oh,
it's
man.
horrible. It stinks. And so does this court. This
You know,
court is the reason Zion got big. He's like, I'm not playing basketball. Went 8. That's a ridiculous quote. Like, you know, it's a little outrageous.
So
But.
I think my least favorite one. I think if you scroll back up maybe like 3 or 4, it was there it is, the Wisconsin one right there. I say the Wisconsin one, not even the Bucks one, but the Wisconsin one. I don't know, it just feels so plain, and then here's a stripe of color and something about the
You don't like the Cream City? You're not Cream Team?
I'm not a Cream City truther.
You're not a Cream Team guy?
Not a cream team guy.
Not a Cream Team.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
No.
So sad.
Something about the Bucks just in Wisconsin in the middle. Something about it just looks old. Something about this court looks 1960s. And I don't know, it's just so boring and odd. I hate it. I wish they would have done more. You know, you have a whole
The
buck.
stripe should have been blue. Why is it green like that? Why is it mint green?
That too. It's just the fact that you have a whole buck as your logo. You could have done something so cool. Like, oh,
stinky. Also, like, it's a really small thing, but I think the only team that I've seen with the name of the court twice on the top instead of like staggered. So it's just one big .com.
And why is it so big?
It's gigantic. It's Denver does it also.
But at least
There's
it
a
looks
couple.
cool.
Denver's
on
is like a
Denver's.
script font. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
bad. The Ball Arena. And it's two of them. 2 Ball Arena.
Okay, but see,
yeah.
Boston's isn't as obnoxious. Like, I feel like that .com is huge.
And TD Garden's pretty bad. The TD Garden one's pretty bad. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The State Farm Arena. You know, I'm a light blue enjoyer.
Those aren't their colors. Why is it light blue? What is that font? Lift as we fly in Times New Roman, all lowercase, is crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, get these out of my face. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm getting
What's
mad.
next? What's next?
Yo, we do have the trade deadline. I know we're kind of running on time here, but Chase Young traded to the 49ers
Insane.
for a 3rd round pick. He is on a contract year, so it could just be a 3rd round pick for a rental, which is pretty expensive. But Chase Young is really good, and the Niners lost 3 straight. They kind of had to make a move because Seattle's playing good ball right now, and they can't lose the division to Geno Smith. That can't happen. That cannot happen with maybe the best roster top to bottom I've ever seen. What else has even happened? Montez Sweat to the Bears. That doesn't move any needle at all.
No.
Shout out to the Commanders, though. They're just selling. They realize they're not that good. It is what it is. I'm sorry about that, boys. You lost twice to the Eagles. That's tough. You expected it. They lost to the Giants. They lost to Tyrod Taylor, which before this podcast, you told me somehow, some way, I don't even know if it's real. If it was a Ballsack Sports tweet, then you got us. Tyrod is the first black quarterback to ever win a game for the New York Football Giants. That is horrible. That is so abysmal. I make the Patriots Bill Belichick refuses to get like a black guy QB jokes all the time because it's fun. Because it's Boston, right?
Yeah.
This is significantly worse, and I almost wish it didn't happen because then I wouldn't have known that it didn't happen before. Like this wasn't like a narrative, but now that I know it's a narrative, now I have to push the Giants are racist, and I didn't want to do that today.
Wow.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that.
Listen, we let Geno Smith end Eli Manning's start streak, man. We're progressive.
We're progressive is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Ay, Dios. Yeah, it's been a really boring deadline. Like actually really boring. Derrick Henry's probably not getting traded. Danielle Hunter's not getting traded. T. Higgins is probably not getting traded. That's like 5 minutes from now. And I don't think any of the trades have happened.
The Bengals are actually pretty good, man.
Yeah, but T. Higgins is on a contract year. And like he's like not that much better than like Tyler Boyd and like their offense at least.
Like, your Minnesota Vikings are getting this handsome guy right here. So
yeah, alopecia warrior Josh Dobbs is in fact coming in because we didn't talk about it, but Kirk Cousins out for the year. Vikings won 4 of the last 5 games with their only loss coming to the Chiefs and a tough one. Probably should have won that game too. Kirk Cousins has been balling. I promise you, and it's a weird sentence. But if the Vikings would have ended up with 10, 11 wins, which at the rate that they were playing and with how the rest of their schedule looks, even with Josh Dobbs as potentially being a starter, if they would have ended up 11 wins, Kirk Cousins would have been at least a top 3 MVP candidate because he's been playing that well. And so it's tough. Kirk finally starting to get some respect. He balls out on a Monday night. The Vikings offense looks really, really good without Justin Jefferson. And he goes down. He's out for the year. It's probably his last snap as a Viking. I'm sad.
As the founder, CEO, general manager, and director of operations of the Kirk Cousins is top 10 fan club, which I have been the founder, director, GM. Okay, I'm not saying it all again. For the past 2 years, 3 years now, I'm deeply saddened.
It's sad
by this injury.
It's definitely sad. And there was a video because Kirk's probably the most boring guy in sports, if we're gonna be real. He's like top 5 in boringness in terms of just like him as a guy, his day-to-day life and all that. But he was getting carted off the field, and he like looks up, and we got a first down, or like we got we punted, but we got like a stop on third. He was like, "Yeah!" As he's like getting carted off the field. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss this guy." Like he was never like a Mahomes, but he like really wanted to win, and he like did everything he could, and he gave it his all. And if he's never playing another snap for the Vikings again, I'll be very sad, and I will miss him deeply and cheer for him wherever he goes, unless it's the Green Bay Packers, in which I will be very, very sad.
Kirk Cousins on pain meds. Call him Perk Cousins.
Exactly. He will be Perk Cousins for the next 6 to 12 weeks. He simply will be. Which is a good thing because the Vikings traded Ezra Cleveland, one of the better guards in the league. I still think he sucks. I don't care what PFP or PFF tells you. This guy's not that good. In games that matter and a run creation, he's pretty horrible. But he's going to the Jags. So Trevor Lawrence gets some allegedly air quotes help. But shout out to the Vikings trading him after Kirk gets hurt. They're like, you know what? You didn't help him enough. He got sacked and got hurt. To the Wolves.
To
the Jags.
It's just interesting. The Vikings are like, okay, Kirk Cousins is out. Let's get Josh Dobbs to, just put a Band-Aid on the quarterback position. But at the same time, yeah, we probably know we're done. So let's trade one of our starting linemen. It's just interesting strategy here. I don't understand it at all.
It was actually very strange. I'm not really sure. And I'm curious to see how Dobbs will do. I mean, he's not like that good, but also like the Cardinals have negative weapons offensively. So maybe he'll be good. Like the Cardinals have pretty bad receivers, pretty bad running backs when James Conner's hurt. Now he'll go from whoever was over there to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and KJ Osborne. It's pretty fun. Like I don't want to talk about the running backs, so they stink, but pretty fun.
Yeah, and there's go ahead, finish up.
I was gonna say there's like no other trades, pretty sure.
Well, I was gonna say like has that Eagles trade happened between last episode and now, right? So they have Kevin Byard, or did we already talk about that last episode?
We did not. Kevin Byard is on the Eagles. That happened on the 23rd. So
I'd say,
yeah.
Here's the thing though. There's no big Christian McCaffrey move. Like there's no huge crazy star moving. But I think a lot of the teams that are selling. Example, my New York Giants, and I talked to you about this before we started. I think guys are getting a lot of good value here. Think about it. Leonard Williams, he's nowhere near a top defensive lineman in the league. He's pretty solid, pretty good run stopper, and he's on the last year of his contract. The Giants are getting a second and a fifth out of him. That
pretty
is
crazy.
Ridiculous value. I mean, Chase Young just got traded. And he was traded for a fifth, I believe, if I remember off the top of my head. A third. Oh, a third. Who did I? Oh, no, he got traded for. I'm so there actually has been a lot of trades, but I mean, even considering traded for a third, and Chase Young is arguably better than Leonard Williams, especially in pass rush.
Yeah.
And the Giants got a second and a fifth.
Yeah,
I mean that's really good value, and even like the Commanders as well. They got a second for Sweat. They got a third for Young. So all these teams that are selling, they're getting a lot of value. And I know you don't agree with me because you were talking about how these teams are overvaluing picks and whatnot. Whatever. Teams are made off of second and third round picks.
Yeah.
So you stack your second and third round picks. You make even just one decent selection or good selection a year in those mid rounds, you're going to have a good team in a few years. So I'm happy with, what the Giants are doing. That's my team. And, even though the Commanders are a rival, they're getting good value as well. So it's, at least we're seeing good possible futures for these teams.
Yeah. I know we were talking about it before. I don't hate draft picks in general. I think draft picks are great. Obviously, second, third, fourth round guys are like the guys that you don't hear about, but they wind up being the really good linebackers. The rotational DBs that make great plays. Like those are the guys that wind up being like really important for teams, especially because they don't make that much money. Obviously, the NFL doesn't have a real salary cap because it doesn't exist, but it still is there. So you can't just put a bunch of veterans on a team, right? With that being said, like drafting a guy like Chase Young, I don't remember if he was second or third in the draft, but he was second or third overall pick. You get him. he never lives up fully to that second or third expectation, despite him being an above average lineman and pretty good. He's never that good. He deals with injury stuff, deal with all of that, obviously. And just 4 years later, you get rid of him for a third. That feels like you're walking backwards because you're not taking advantage of when guys have value because you think you can win when clearly your roster wasn't built to win. So you're like, oh, let's win with Taylor Heineke for 2 seasons. Oh, wow, that didn't work. Shocked Pikachu face. Oh, no, now we're on our third guy. Sam Howell doesn't look like he's that great either. Oh, no. We've all known this. And obviously, you're a GM. You don't want to think your team sucks right away every time they're not the Chiefs. But seeing guys and evaluating what they're worth and taking advantage of what they're worth when they're worth something is an important part of a GM. And teams like the Commanders, teams like typically the Giants, I know they're under a new regime, but typically the Giants, even Minnesota with their trades today, they don't do a good job with that. The teams that do, the Eagles, why? They're like, hey, here's a third, fourth round pick for Bird. I don't even know how you say his last name. Because he's one of the older DBs in the league, but we have a team that can win now, and we have a little bit of an issue in the secondary. So let's improve that secondary instead of give up and hope that this third round pick this year is even a guy in the secondary, and then he's even able to get starting minutes because that doesn't even happen for most of the league. So it's convoluted, but I don't like picks because most of them don't work out, and we don't know how to draft because most of the NFL stinks. It's a big loop that Brooks heard me say a million times. I think most guys in the NFL are not good at their positions. Long-winded, but
Well, with that all being said, also,
Yeah.
The trade deadline window has closed. The last 2 recent trades that I've seen are Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to Detroit.
Brother is schlepped. Brother is schlepped.
The Bills go ahead and get them a DB, Rasul Douglas from the Packers.
Okay, that's valid.
That's actually good. Rasul Douglas is good.
Yeah.
I will not sleep on that. Rasul Douglas is good.
Yep. Other than that, I haven't seen much. If anything comes in after, check out.
Yeah, sometimes it spills over. Yeah.
Check out @Spectators Media on X, and you'll be up to date.
True. I like that. Rasul Douglas is good. He makes the Bills better. That's a real thing. He does make them better.
Oh, random trade. Absolutely no one's gonna care or talk about unless literally something happens. The Dolphins got faster. They traded for Chase Claypool. So they just added another fast guy. No, it's just funny because there's all these talks about the Dolphins are running a track meet, and they're like, okay, yeah, let's get another one. Let's get another one that could just be on this to
be completely fair, he makes the most sense in the Dolphins because no, he won't be good. No, he's not going to make plays, or at least more than like 5 of them. But you know what he will do? He'll go out onto that practice field and they'll tell him, hey, race each other. And he'll maybe get second or third in those races and push those guys to get a little bit faster. So for that, we thank you, Chase Claypool.
For that, we thank you, Tosh.0 voice.
Exactly. Shout out to Daniel Tosh. Not really. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
I don't know. He could be a bad guy nowadays, for all we know.
He probably is. If I had to guess, I feel like most of those MTV guys are pretty bad dudes at this point.
Did we have anything else on the schedule?
Absolutely not. No,
absolutely not.
World Series Game 4 is tonight. Again, legacy Yankee starting pitcher game. There's NBA games pretty much every day. The tournament starts on Friday, I believe, Thursday or Friday. So you'll be able to see those courts in live time. If you vomit or get a headache, take a ibuprofen and think of me when you're chugging the water, pushing down an ibuprofen. Be like, yeah, Julian told me about this. Probably pop one beforehand. Wear some like nice sunglasses if you're watching like the Knicks game because that orange court will blind you.
Oh my.
And I don't even know what else is going on. We got football this week, obviously.
You know what's hilarious? Our good old producer BK wanted us to go 30 minutes this week. BK, wow. BK, what's the number at?
We're at
the
47?
Number is at 53 minutes, but listen. I let the dogs loose because it is a NFL trade deadline special, and it was closing at 4 o'clock, so I let them go, hoping that we would get some news. But Daddy NFL did not give us anything, so that's not on me. That's not on me.
That's a great producer right there, truly. And hey, we talked about a lot today, and I'm happy about it. We got our predictions out. We got to talk about courts. the lamest
Yeah.
thing ever that we got
No,
yelled
that
at
was a
for.
vital part of the show.
It was
Ask
pivotal.
our producer again. That was pivotal.
That was pivotal, and I was told to pull this up, and they didn't do it. So
Hey, we got to use our browser function. Don't you worry, everybody. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and make sure you leave some ratings on every other platform if you're listening along with us. Check us out at Spectators Media on X, Instagram, all the 9 on TikTok as well. You can check out Ken at _24Ken and myself at Julian the Cut. Big Brook Visuals on the producing beat. It what. Thank you guys. I will see you guys next week. Love you. Have a good one. Stay safe.